This weekend is a reenactment of one of the most famous trials in the history of the Underground Railroad on the Delmarva Peninsula. Here's the cool thing. The reenactment is actually going to happen in the very same Newcastle County courtroom where the trial happened in 1848.
And get this, that courthouse was built in 1732. Now, the story of what led up to that trial is full of twists and turns. So, of course, we're bringing in Jim Duffy of Secrets of the Eastern Shore. Welcome and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while. Okay, so this story actually starts on the Maryland side in Queen Anne's County.
In Queen Anne's County, in Ingleside, kind of above Ridgely there.
Okay.
And there's a couple living there, Sam and Emmeline Hawkins. Sam is a free black man, and Emmeline is enslaved. So in most cases, they would have probably lived in a one-room cabin with maybe a little loft. It must have been a rambunctious place because they had 6 kids.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And their situation was super complicated because Emmeline got sold somewhere. It's like some of the kids belonged to one guy, some of the kids belonged to another guy. The whole situation was a mess. And there's no way the family's going to stay together in the future. Sam tried to cobble together money and buy freedom for some or all of his kids. No one would agree to let him do that. So the couple decides we need to take this in our own hands and go. And they got in touch with a guy named Samuel Burris, another free black man who worked on the Underground Railroad, and said, "Will you help us?" And he does. It was December 26th, I think. When they left, they drove all night through 6 inches of snow. They got from Ingleside up to Middletown, where there's another conductor by the name of John Hunn. And there's frostbite and freezing involved after this long ride. So he's getting the fires going and stews going and everything else. And a neighbor gets suspicious and alerts the authorities to strange goings on the farm. So soon, a sheriff and a couple of bounty hunters show up. All kinds of crazy things happens. If I explained it all to you, we'd be here until midnight. We don't want that. So let's just say that everybody ends up in the Middletown jail. Oh. And on the Underground Railroad, there's thousands, tens of thousands of people. This would have been the end of the story. Right. They would have been sent back, punished, and live the rest of their life in slavery. But Sam and Emmeline were so lucky. You know that phrase, it takes a village to raise a child? Sometimes it took a village to help a family in need in this case. And that's what happened in this case. They ran into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who all just kind of quietly helped them out. So let's run through the 5.
Okay.
All right. They have to go to the Middletown jail. They're in the Middletown jail.
Right.
There's a magistrate there. And he has to write up an arrest report and send them on to the big courthouse in Newcastle.
Okay.
And this magistrate writes up an arrest report that makes no sense. Gets names wrong, legal status wrong, everything about it is wrong.
Intentionally.
That's the theory. I believe so. Okay. Intentionally. A lot of historians think he did this intentionally to buy them time.
Okay.
They get up to Newcastle, they're in front of a judge. The judge says, "This thing is stupid, you need to go back and get a proper arrest report and come back." That judge had a daughter who heard what was going on. And that daughter quickly sent word up to Wilmington to one of the most famous conductors on the Underground Railroad, Thomas Garrett. Thomas Garrett drops everything, grabs a lawyer by the scruff of the neck, brings a lawyer down to get him. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 people, four people, whatever it is. Yeah. And then they get in front of this judge named James Booth. His father actually had proposed to have Delaware abolish slavery. And it seems that James Booth was also sympathetic to that cause, because instead of waiting for the arrest report to come back, he said, "No, we're going to have this hearing right now." And when Thomas Garrett and his lawyer said, you can't hold people in jail without a proper arrest report, he said, "Yep, these people are free to go." And Garrett got them on the wagon or whatever, got them up to Philadelphia area where they lived in a town called Byberry for the rest of their lives. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of angels. Maybe they weren't angels, but they were people who did angelic things along the way, make this a really unusual and interesting escape.
With a happy ending.
Yes.
It is. It is.
For everyone?
Not for everyone. Thomas Garrett and John Hunn were put on trial because they were accused of knowing the entire situation, that these people were enslaved and they were on the run. They were put on trial in front of Roger Taney, who later became the Supreme Court Justice who wrote the awful Dred Scott decision.
Oh.
The jury was all slave owners, and they fined them so much that they were flat broke. These were reasonably well-off guys who were helping out fugitives. They were flat broke, and just to give people one preview of that trial reenactment that's coming up on Saturday, after the trial, one of the sheriffs came up to Garrett and said, "I hope that you've learned your lesson and you'll never help people like this out again." And Garrett's reply, he was a Quaker, so he spoke that way. He said, "Friend, I don't have $1 to my name, but if thee knows a fugitive who needs breakfast, send that fugitive to me." And he continued for the rest of his life to help enslaved people, as did John Hunn, despite the punishment that they were.
How about that? Oh
Incredible
my
story.
goodness.
There are angels among us.
Yes, there are.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jim Duffy.
Yes.
Secrets of the
Thank you.
Eastern Shore. See you next time.
Wow.